Fantastic. Well, welcome everybody to Traction Thursday. It is my pleasure to introduce a friend of mine, Mendy McAdams, who is with the Chamber of Commerce. Let's please give her a warm Traction Thursday welcome.
Okay, so I had this all done, and then we did the incentive presentation last night. So if I seem like I get lost, it's because I just redid this like an hour ago. So good times. So we're going to talk about our downtown, which is our living room. This is where we want people to come. We want people to hang out. We want people to eat, shop, do all of the things. So we paid for the Downtown Resource Center, and by we, the Chamber, the city, Visit Fairfield, and Grow Fairfield Economic Development all equally shared in the expense of bringing experts to our community. They spent 3 days. They talked to over 200 people, and they learned what we want and what we like and what we don't like. And what we found out is we've been here long enough, we don't even see it anymore. It's right there, right in front of us, but we just walk past the weeds. And when we break our heel in the crack of the sidewalk, we just buy a new pair of shoes. It's no big deal. Now three pair of heels. So these are kind of the themes that they brought out as areas that we need to focus. They said we have the worst signage problem they've seen in the entire state, and they've been to like 700 cities. In the report, which you can see on our website, here's what you see when you come to Fairfield. This was, for me, very eye-opening. Does this seem inviting to you? This is what our downtown says to people. The other thing they said is our one-way streets are killing half of our square. If you look, this side looks lovely. The at-home store's beautiful. Central Park's home furnishing is beautiful. And then we have the J.C. Penney building with what they will refer to as the awning of death. Okay, that building is an eyesore. It's a corner. It's gross, right? So, but we have now closed our eyes. We walked past it. One of the things that came from this for me personally, I've been in Fairfield about 10 years now, is now I can't go downtown without going, oh, I need to go in there and ask them if I can wash their windows. America's Diamond is gorgeous. They have beautiful art. They have beautiful jewelry. Look at their second floor. The windows aren't clean. There's boxes in the windows. That's the kind of thing that we have to focus on. And so there were a lot of really big ideas that came out of this, but I want to focus on the little things that we can start doing right now that make a visible impact. So then people say, oh, that old sign of that business that's not even here and hasn't been here for 20 years isn't there anymore. Right? Because those little things help start the momentum and catalyst us into change. So it's important to take one step at a time, because my board president, my immediate past president, watched the Main Street webinar. It's a 6-hour webinar so that you can apply to be a Main Street community. She came to our next board meeting and said, I want to buy all the paints and paint everything. And that's why we're applying for Main Street again. So don't get caught up in the enormity of it, because it's not an easy fix. It didn't get there overnight, and it's gonna take all of us to do it. So, two-way traffic. By the way, this gentleman that does this is so cool. My conference table, he did renderings of buildings. I want to buy a sign for Asian Pho Bistro because he designed it. I was like, how much does that cost? Can you make it? So, two-way streets. What do we hear when we say we're gonna go to two-way streets? We're gonna lose so much parking. We don't have a parking problem in Fairfield. We have a lazy people problem. Okay, 2 blocks, every direction from this square, there is a public parking lot. Now, they're not all nice. We gotta work on that too. But there's no reason that we have to park right in front. Also, if you own a business on the square and you park in front of your business or your neighbor's business, that's terrible. Use the inside of the square or go to a public lot. It should be required. Because parking in front of your competitor doesn't hurt them, it hurts you just as much, because if your store's covered, then how many times do you come to the square and you go, oh, there's not a parking spot right there. I'll just go somewhere else. When the downtown assessment people came to our square, came to my office, they got lost because they took a wrong turn on the square. He had to go 8 blocks out of his way to come to the Chamber of Commerce. 8 blocks. Would you go 8 blocks to stop at a restaurant? Would you go 8 blocks to buy something downtown when I can just go out to the big box store? No. We're lazy. Walk. It's okay. We want people to come downtown. We need to create a downtown for people, not cars. There's that do not enter thing. So the two-way streets are sidewalks. That's my big one. Here's weeding and painting. What?
The fire department take care of them? They do residential.
I don't know whose job it is, but I'm gonna paint them. I can buy paint. Look at this. This was one of the things they talked about. Wouldn't this be cool down in Central Park in the fall and have s'mores with your kids while you're watching the movie in the park? Think of just this. Oh my goodness. Improving our downtown experience. Why would you come downtown and stay downtown if you're gonna break your heel in the sidewalk, if everything looks terrible? We have how many artists in our community, and we do not have enough art downtown. Our alleys, one of the things they said about the parking, the lazy people problem, is our alleys are a great straight line to downtown. If we could illuminate them, get the dumpsters out of there, there's some wonderful street art. I teach the Leadership Fairfield class. We always spend 2 hours wandering around so I can find new art. Walk through the alleys. Lighting is also a problem we're not talking about. Managing parking. Again, if you live downtown, you should not be parking in front of your building. Use the inside part of the parking, or go to a public lot. And plan the future of the alleys. The alleys for me are super exciting. We have 5 acres of streets and sidewalks in our downtown. 5 acres. Oh my goodness, that's way too much cement. The gentleman that just does the rendering was talking about his mother, and if she had to walk from the At-Home Star to Central Park, the amount of time it would take. If we had two-way parking, we're gonna lose 4 spots. That's what he said. In his design, and he already designed it for us. He's already done all the renderings for us. 4 parking spots. And it adds actually space so we could have some more outdoor seating. Wouldn't it be nice if Cafe Peace seating was everywhere and twice as big? Signs. It's the bane of my existence. We have a sign ordinance. Did you know that? One of the things we got dinged with for Main Street is we have lots of great ordinances. We just don't enforce them. There's no requirement for it. So we would like to see, even if it's a nominal fee of $5 that you have to come in and pay to put up a new sign, so you have to read the ordinance. Once we rewrite it and it actually works. We would like to partner the artists in our community and leverage that art to create that signage. So the artist could design it, we can find someone local to make it, and then we get to lean into our weird. It doesn't all have to be, we don't have to ordinance ourselves to death and be a Pella. We can ordinance ourselves just enough that we can lean into our weird and make it what it is. Wouldn't this be cool? Like, I want to buy that. I don't even know, but it's huge. It's so huge. A sign cleanup day, which I think beautification is actually working on, and I love that. Go where it says Red Rock Tavern. Let's paint some red on that and make it not say that anymore, because I don't even know what that was, because I was not here. George's, Just Right. How many other signs are we have downtown? If you're a visitor, if I was a visitor and I was like, oh, Just Right, I'm gonna go over there, and then I go there and look, it's an empty building. And wayfinding. We have a problem in Fairfield. We really, really, really like to have meetings and pay experts to come tell us what to do. And then we take that really nice report that they would give us and we put it on our report shelf and we dust it once a year and we say, we have a report. We need to do. When they came, they said, we could bring you the wayfinding study that we wrote 3 years ago, 5 years ago, however many years ago, hand it to you today and it is just as relevant and you didn't do any of it then, so why would we do another report? Business presence. Look how cool this is. I love these lights. I want these lights back. Because this does not make me feel safe. That's across from my office. Kitty corner from the post office. This section right here, these ladies that go to Vita Body Pilates, and there's a head spa lady up here who will make your headaches so much better. Anyway, this is so dark, so dark. We have a terrible lighting problem. Our lights are too high. This light is only annoying these people, right? Lighting does not need to be this high. Lighting should be low, and it should be for safety, and it shouldn't be just blinding, right? We all talk about light trespass, right? There's a way that lighting can be where it makes you feel safe, but it's not making the poor upstairs people go, it's sunshine up here, and it's dark outside. And enhanced windows displays. So, Chirinos, for example. If I go by Chirinos right now, I don't know if it's open because they have a blinds, right? It's closed. If you're a visitor and you don't know that Chirinos is only open in the evening, when they came, the downtown assessment people, they were taking pictures because they're throwing the pizzas around and they're doing all of that. So enhancing the storefront to tell people why they should come in. Last night's presentation, I'm still a little bit like, oh. Every time they talk, I'm just like, oh my gosh, now I have to do more things. I have to figure out how we can do that. So if, for example, some of the poor design, when you ask someone who is a residential contractor to come in and fix something on a commercial building, they're not necessarily going to use the right products and they're not necessarily going to do the right thing. And then you end up with a bigger problem than what you had to start with. So enhancing those window displays, Aronda's is another really great one because you can see in there, right? And at night when it's busy, you want to be there. There's other people there. You want to be a part of that, right? If you see people in there, you want to be a part of it because there might be something fun and cool happening. Our buildings have good bones. That's huge. Not every town can say that. So while the JCPenney's building is not great, it's got good bones. So it's got potential in it. Small scale improvements. If we took down all of the signs for the buildings that aren't here or the companies that aren't here anymore, just think of just that small step. If we all today, after we're done here, go out and pull some weeds, okay, not today, but this summer, pull some weeds and remind business owners, when you get out of your car, think of the customer perspective. When I step out of my car and I look at your business, is it warm? Is it inviting? Do I have to step over weeds? Is there trash? There's 2 businesses downtown, and I always, when I see them out sweeping, I go tell the ladies, thanks for sweeping. There's only 2 businesses that I ever see downtown that sweep their sidewalk. 2. So these are some of the action steps that they've given us for the buildings. The city is working on some of them. A vacant building registry is going to be huge. To know which buildings are empty, where either apartments are available or storefronts. And if you're going to let your building sit empty or use it for storage, you have to pay because you're making our downtown worse. Incentivizing building improvements. I think the city really is going to work on this too. Last night, Mayor Connie had some really great questions. Paul Gandy from City Council was there, and they stayed after and talked to the gentleman. So we've got to make it not only important to them to do it, we need to give them a little bit of an incentive, and there has to be consequences. We can't just let it go. We can't just keep closing our eyes. It's going to walk past. The next building will be nice. Promoting downtown as a destination, Terry Baker does a great job of that. This one we're going to work on, getting a National Historic District downtown, because then the businesses downtown can get historic tax credits to do that maintenance. And then it incentivizes them to use period-specific stuff, not just to go and make it crazy. So some small-scale projects. We need to promote our success stories like the Armory, like Mohan Delights when they're completed, because then other people are going to say, oh my gosh, if you haven't been through Mohan Delights, I already talked to her last night. The minute that we can go through there and see that, it is transformational. And it won't say Mohan Delights all the time. She's just waiting on that. The Armory. I got to tour it not that long ago. It is fabulous. We have to raise awareness. We have to remove the awnings. If your awning is broke, please take it down. If you've got the awning of death, please take it down. And facade updates. KMCD. Look at that. This is the old pictures. But wouldn't it be nice? I would love to take all of that metal down and make it pretty. I'm going to paint everything. This is one of the renderings. This is one of their suggestions for the JCPenney's building. Yeah. To make it a market. Wouldn't that be nicer than what we have?
Healthy snacks on the square, you could get a little
What about a boutique hotel? I know that there's some interest in that.
We need hotels.
The community, what food like there?
So the question is,
Right
what
now,
about
it's
a
not.
boutique hotel?
It's owned by a person. The city, from my understanding, was working to try to take possession of it because the building owner is unwilling to do the necessary steps. So I don't know where that lands yet. This is a big time project, right? We're going to start with our small pieces so we don't get overwhelmed, because those people that start out and are our visionaries who start this process, we don't want them to wear out before they get to the big stuff.
Yeah, but can't we make it more attractive so someone would want to build something there?
Can't we make it more attractive for someone to build there?
Or a boutique hotel? Make it more attractive, and so then they can get,
I think it's already zoned for multi-use.
Yeah, it's already set, and there's an investment group working on it already.
I'm not sure on that. Okay, so this is super important for me. Building development and vacancy. All of those vacant ones, what if we put something up that said, wouldn't this be a nice bakery? What if we just ask the building owners, can I come wash the windows and take the empty boxes out of the front window? Can I put up some blinds so that it doesn't look like junk, right? I think that beautification is also working on this because I love beautification. The fun business opportunities. This one really got me last night. I went home and maybe designed a bunch of things. So those fun, and make pop-up shops. So you're having troubles renting that storefront, right? Allow someone to come in and do a pop-up shop, especially at the holidays. How many at-home businesses do we have? As a chamber director, I can tell you there's a lot of at-home businesses that would love, come rent this space for $100 for the day. Set up your stuff, you take it out when you leave.
It would be great if that's the prices they were asking for.
Yeah, preach. No.
Where do those Santa houses go? Why can't we just keep them downtown and turn them into,
The cafes or something.
well, just, an artist a month, and artists can just use that instead.
Yep.
they're in
So the discussion is about
Yep.
pop-ups and where do the
Yep, they're at the
Santa
city
houses
shop
go during
with
the
the rest
winter?
of our
Can't we
Christmas
just
stuff.
keep those?
So design basics. This is what we talked about a lot last night, was making sure that we are taking care of our buildings. I didn't know, fun fact, you can't just put cement between bricks. There's stuff and it has to breathe, and there's things that happen that aren't good. I don't remember exactly all those fun words, but I went home and told my husband, I was like, did you know that bricks breathe? And he was like, sometimes you're adorable.
Faces fall off if they can't.
Yes, right? Did you walk the alleys to check? Because I did. Good basic design. So not covering the good stuff. If you are gonna make windows smaller, don't, because then you'll do something silly around it that won't look nice. Keep the windows the same size, buy nicer windows. They gave a lot of examples, and the slideshow from last night will be I think Claire's putting it on the website now. That'll be there so you can go through and look at those slides. Jason will have the recording from last night up by Monday. If you didn't watch that, if you didn't watch the downtown assessment presentation, it is on YouTube, it is on our website, watch it. If you have not gone to our website and read the assessment report, all 41 pages, read it. It's very eye-opening. If it doesn't inspire you, come talk to me and I'll inspire you. On the Iowa Downtown Resource Center website, they have a design guide. A number of communities are adopting this as, we want you to follow this. They've already done the work. We just need to say, this is what we want you to do. Don't do silly things. Do you know we don't have building codes? I didn't know that until I started house hunting here. So anyway, look at some of these beautiful things. I want this for us. And then at the end of the conversation last night, they talked about vibrancy amenities. This gets people downtown doing stuff. If I'm hanging out down there with my kids, I'm gonna go get something to eat. My kids are gonna need to get something to drink. I'm gonna go to at-home store and buy a cool red pot, because she's got them in every colors. So if we can get some things to get people to come downtown and stay downtown, the longer they stay downtown, the more likely they are that they're going to come back, that they're going to move here, that they're going to shop here, that they're going to eat here, they're going to love it here. Oh my gosh, wouldn't this be fun? I want to do the just giant Scrabble. I'm going to do that. Create action in town. Give people a reason to come, and they might stick around. So what can you do? Join the Fairfield Main Street Steering Committee. Support. We are going to need a cross-section of financial and emotional support for us to get approval this year. Volunteer with the Beautification Commission. If you are not getting Chamber Chatter newsletter, we put out when they're doing stuff. And they will let anybody and everybody come play in the dirt with them. Pull the weeds. If nothing else, when you're walking around downtown, pull some weeds and encourage others to help. So we are applying to be a Main Street again this year. So here's some fun facts that we learned. Rather than opening it up to the entire state, which is what they traditionally do, they are only allowing the 3 communities that did not make it last year to apply again this year. Because we did such a great job. And it gets better. One of those communities has already said they're not going to do it. They have budgeted that all 3 of us could make it. Now, that doesn't mean they're just giving it to us on a silver platter, because that's not how this rolls out. We have to completely redo the application, which means we need help getting all of that information updated. Our downtown, our Main Street community will be from the railroad tracks down to Bountiful Bakery, from B to just on the other side of the chamber office. And there's some cutouts in there. It's not a square because we need to limit the amount of like single family homes. We want it to be mostly business, all that kind of thing. But we're going to bring Main Street to Fairfield. What Main Street does. So Main Street is kind of on all of our radars right now because it's in dire need of help. Here's what we do. We have 4 small organizations who say, yes, Main Street's a priority, and we'll do stuff, and we'll make it great. We'll give it some improvement. But then we have so many other things happening, the chamber, economic development, tourism in the city, that then you have to go do your other stuff, and while you're over here doing the other stuff, you've forgotten that downtown still needs stuff. And then we backslide. So by bringing Main Street here, downtown stays as the focus of one organization. That is all they have to do. And then they get the rest of us and say, hi, did you forget we have a downtown? You should probably come help for a while.
Explain again what Main Street is for everyone who doesn't know necessarily what it is and what it involves. Just give us a little bit.
Yep, so Main Street, Iowa is actually the best in the United States. We're one that other states try to mimic. It is an organization. It's a different kind of animal. Much like the chamber is a different kind of animal, it's a different kind of animal. They come in and they train you. It's a 4-pronged approach: events, promotion, design, and there's a 4th one. I don't know. I've been way too much into Main Street. And so what it does is it gives us one organization that is going to keep the focus on there. It draws out different volunteers because they do different things than all the other organizations in town. They will help to make downtown the focus. We will have, when we become a Main Street, which I'm sure that we will, in November we will hire an executive director for that position. It will be a separate 501c3. It will have its own board of 9 people. It will have its own executive director. The chamber is going to give them a place to live for 3 years, potentially longer, so that they don't have to go find a building. They don't have to go out and buy all the office supplies. They don't have to have an assistant. We are going to share all the resources because as a chamber, we understand the importance of making our downtown great, and we want to support it. We have an anonymous donor who is wonderful, and I love them, is giving $20,000 to our Main Street to start the fundraising. And that family has challenged the city, economic development, Visit Fairfield, and the chamber to match that $20,000. We want to raise the first 3 years for Main Street. So when that director comes in, they go right to work. They don't have to worry about anything else. We've already written the articles of incorporations. We've already written the bylaws. We've already started working on who's going to be on that board. We've already started getting all of the contacts for business and building owners down here. We've already started all of that. So when that person comes in, they start from day one figuring out what we do first. Great. Thank you.
All right. We need to get
Sorry, I'm a little
we need to
bit
get a
hyper.
speaker with some energy. I've got questions, so we've got to remember to use the microphone, please.
Not a question really, but just you know, a few years back, I was trying to get some support for something in the park, Petra Park, and it's an outdoor piano. They do exist, and they're actually driven by sunlight. They're electronic, and they can be turned off at 10 o'clock, so you're not playing after 10. But a lot of communities really enjoy them, and just thought I'd mention it.
I love that. Love that.
Hi, regarding the Main Street Fairfield Steering Committee, will those be open meetings for people to just kind of drop in and check out what's going on, or?
Not at this point because it's in planning stages. And so we have a team of, I think there's about 20 people on our steering committee right now. And yesterday they just met and created their subcommittees. So we have a group that is going to go out and they're going to work on getting all the financial, everybody in town to support it financially and write those letters of support. We've got a group that's working on the communication plan, so we're all sending the same messaging. So there's a fax, an FAQ. What is Main Street? Why do we need Main Street in Fairfield? What is Main Street going to do? Because there's always misconceptions about what it's going to do. It's not going to kill the chamber. It's not a member organization. It's not any of those terrible things. It's just putting the focus on downtown.
So if I wanted to volunteer in one of those subgroups, how would I find out what subgroup might interest me?
You come visit me at the chamber, or you send me an email at chamber@fairfieldiowa.com, and we will sign you up. Last night I had 2 people that came to the incentive meetings that joined the steering committee last night.
When's the application due?
We don't officially have a date. Last time it was due mid-May. And then in July, we went up and did our public presentation, and they announced in August.
So this will go right with the Thriving Cities.
Yes. They talked about that oh yeah, you were there last night. Never mind, just kidding.
Hi. So when I really liked the idea around the vibrancy and the activities downtown. It kind of reminds me, if you've ever been to Bryant Park in New York City, it's just buzzing with people, activities. They got cafes in there. They got those little wooden little stores and all that stuff and games. And what would it take to create something like that for the square? Like, would we have to set up an organization and have, somebody dedicated, responsible for creating all those activities, creating, like an ecosystem that could sustain itself, perhaps? Like, so maybe you could have some revenue generating activities there that could pay for some of the services and people.
It's exactly what Main Street will do.
Really? Okay.
That's what Main Street does. They have one of their pillars is events. It's to get people downtown. So when, for example, if Main Street decides we've got to redo a road, Atumwood did this and I loved it. While they had all those big construction workers vehicles down there, they invited the children one evening for 2 hours to bring their Tonka trucks down and play next to the big vehicles. It was the coolest thing ever. These little boys and little girls had the best time because, look, my Tonka truck's just like this truck, right? So getting people to come downtown, the Main Street will be event generating. It will be revenue generating because each event will have sponsors. There will be booths set up. We anticipate the square being busy all the time because that's what it needs to be. And eventually, even Fairfield First Fridays, they bring the kids' games down when it's First Fridays. We want to see that all the time.
Mendy, is Main Street funded by just the state of Iowa? Is it connected with Iowa Economic Development, or is it all private capital?
Main Street is under Iowa Economic Development Association.
And then our domestic, is that have access to state economic development grants plus
Absolutely.
private capital?
There are grants that only Main Street communities can apply for. So rather than applying against every single city in Iowa, I'm only applying against 53 other cities. And we know what our grant writing skills are in Fairfield.
Are they good?
Yes. Oh my gosh, no, we're real. Well, Alex, how much was our grant? No.
Yeah.
Yes, we are good grant writers here. And the other part of that is there's costing that comes from, if we decide to do a facade grant, Main Street, Iowa pays for all the architectural renderings that have to be done, not the building owner. So that in itself is a huge piece. Yeah. And they help you find the funding.
My pet peeve for a long time has been the sidewalks, and I mentioned it last night too, and a lot of people. I'm just kind of curious, what's going to be the mechanism to get that accomplished? Is it going to be a Main Street project, or is it going to be a city project, or is it going to be a, like no one seems to be able to narrow it down, like who's responsible?
Well, when I asked city council and the mayor about it, the building owner owns half of it and the city owns half of it. So it's going to have to be a shared vision. But I do believe that will be one of the first things that Main Street will have to look at. And figuring out how maybe we can get a grant that can incentivize and, match a portion of it, do some fundraising. Maybe we can get, major employers to say, hey, we need to fix the sidewalks downtown. Can you help? There are people here who will help if we just have to let them know that we're doing it.
It'll be under the umbrella of Main Street.
I would imagine, yes.
So it makes sense to pause with thoughts of trying to apply for the downtown revitalization or anything like that out of IEDA until this comes through. And then we get additional help. They would be supportive, but we get a lot more support with those grant programs if we are a Main Street.
Absolutely. Well, and it gives you extra points on those scoring rubrics. Are you a Main Street? Yeah, absolutely.
Another thing I was thinking out, have you reviewed the city codes and ordinances that may be out of date, that maybe if we removed them or that would generate more activity?
So many. Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. And that's the wonderful thing about Main Street, right? Main Street has already done this in 53 other towns. There are 53 current Main Street communities. They're already seeing success. So they can already say, when this building owner says this, I don't want to pay for it. Here's what you say to them. Here's what happened in this community. We've got success stories that have already happened in other communities that we can just, in the nonprofit world, R&D means rip off and duplicate. We're going to rip off and duplicate
Okay, but for
everybody's
example,
stuff.
what if a restaurant wants to serve food outside on the sidewalk and they do that, or they have these little parklet things now
Yep,
that I've seen
absolutely.
places, they could set those up, and if there's any rules in the way that we could look at reviewing those.
Oh, we're going to be reviewing all the ordinances.
Okay, great, thank you.
The sign ordinance is number one for me. Yeah. When we have a number of ordinances that are missing. We have a number of ordinances that need rewritten. And quite honestly, the city is ready to do it. I think that we're finally all on the same page. Grow Fairfield, Visit Fairfield, the Chamber and the city are meeting on a regular basis and saying, let's have a shared vision. Let's all stop doing our own things. We all are doing things downtown. Why don't we all decide to do one thing downtown together, right? Why don't we start there? So that's why we're doing Main Street.
It's great that you're doing it to this crowd, because we're some of the people that might want to get something done. But you could reach a lot of people by getting on FPAC. Can you get on FPAC and present this?
Oh, yes.
When?
Jason and I are working on it.
Okay. Because FPAC, a lot of my friends look at FPAC,
Yep.
and its content isn't entertaining all the time. This would be a great opportunity.
Yes, absolutely. And now that this is being recorded, so we've already got this, and Jason is the FPAC person, so we can just give him a little nudge.
So Mendy,
I just brought him cookies, so I think we're okay.
this is an entrepreneurial group. You're clearly not the average chamber director. And there's so much entrepreneurial fire behind this effort. Talk to us about that. What are kind of the mechanics of how this is happening? Why is it happening? What do you see is feeding into this moment where what could have, should have happened years ago is now happening?
So you have to be able to put your egos and your logos aside. We don't care if we get top billing. We want to do what's best for our community. And I think for the first time in a really long time, a lot of organizations who really were very siloed have decided to come out and play together. We all are getting in the sandbox together. We're sharing toys. We're talking about having a shared vision for the future. And that's not something that we've had in Fairfield for quite a while. There's not been a shared vision. We have all had, I want to do this and I want to do that. Well, that's great, what all you want to do. But we need to get back to basics. COVID really was a hard reset. And I think that some of us are still a little COVID fogged. We've got businesses who forgot basic business principles. we have businesses who have wonky hours or change their hours on a regular basis. If you have a sign on the front of your building that says you're open from 9 to 3, and I go to yank on the door and you're not there, and there's not a sign that says you've got a sick kid, you went home, you're at a meeting. If I'm not in my office, there's a sign on the door that tells you where to find me, and generally will say, call my cell or come see me where I'm at. We, at Christmas time, because we are the Christmas tradition on the square, it regularly will say, we're playing in Santa's house, come hang out. Because we're playing in Santa's house, getting ready. So I think that for the first time, we're all pulling on the same side of the rope, and we're getting others, and we're doing this, right? So just to have those 4 organizations excited about it, that's great. But we got to get everybody excited about it, because if we are not all pulling on the same side of the rope, if we're not all sharing that vision, we're just throwing bricks at a wall. We're putting the cement and making the brick faces pop off.
Does Main Street have business education for business owners through
Oh
downtown?
my goodness. I didn't even talk about that. There's so much that Main Street's going to come and do for us. So if you're having troubles figuring out what to do with your storefront, they'll bring an expert in and we'll do a training on making the best of your storefront. They've got all the experts. And they train us. That's the best part. And there's regular trainings. Every quarter, all the Main Street directors go to different trainings in different towns. So we would host all the Main Street directors, and they would come and say, you need to do this. You should do this. This would work here. This would be great there. So again, we're going to rip off and duplicate everybody's stuff. Because there's no reason to recreate the wheel. Everybody else has already done it.
Hi, Mendy. I wanted to ask, I guess just based on trends and goals for this year and the upcoming years, what are the businesses that Fairfield need the most that will help with these projects, and why?
So what we need is, we need you to put your money where your mouth is. We have to raise $75,000 a year based on our size of our community. That's what Main Street expects us to do. And we want to fundraise those first 3 years, so when that director comes in, that board can get right to work. They don't have to worry about the money part of it. They'll have enough to support it for 3 years. We've already started planning the sponsorship packaging that will continue to generate that. And then just volunteer. Get out and do stuff. I mean, because really, we all know that there's a core group of volunteers in this community that you see at every event, right? And they're getting older. And so we've got to get more people involved. We've got to figure out how to get the youth involved. We've got some great ideas, and I think that Main Street will continue to grow those ideas. And we need everybody's support in this, because that was one of the things we got most dinged on, is we did not have a cross-section of support, and we didn't have enough multi-year donors. So we're looking for you to make a donation for 3 years. It doesn't have to be a huge donation. You know what your financials look like. And if you can't donate here's what I always say. I teach a lot about nonprofits. I've been in the nonprofit world for about 20 years. If you can't give money, you have other things. You have time and talent. That is just as important to me as money. If you can't pay me, great. What can you do? Can you pull weeds? Can you paint? I mean, obviously we need a fire hydrant painted. There was also a mailbox somewhere that's white. I don't know where it was, but I asked him to send me the pennant. So yes, we need your support. That's what we need.
Other questions?
If you're not a chamber member, join the chamber.
I've got a question while we walk to the next question. Are you putting benchmarks in place so that when you become one of the most exciting communities in the entire United States, you know where you started and where you're going?
Absolutely. One of the things that we're doing right now is we're doing a building inventory of every building in the Main Street district, and it says, is it a good building? Is it in poor condition? How many vacancies are in the apartments? Is it a vacant storefront? Are the windows clean? Like, we have all the check boxes, because when we get to be a Main Street, they do a lot of reporting. If you've not gone to Main Street Iowa website, they just put out the new 2024 numbers. It is staggering, the amount of volunteer hours, businesses that have opened up, financials on how much government money came into a community, as well as how much donations came into a community. They're doing good things.
Great. Yeah, I also wanted to ask, based on my research, there is 180 registered nonprofits in Fairfield.
GuideStar says there's over 200, but that's okay.
Okay. Well, I guess first off, why is there so many? Wouldn't it make sense if we could possibly merge some nonprofits into others? 'Cause I do feel like it is an oversaturation of nonprofits, and that does take away from small businesses, startups for funding, right? Because at the end of the day, all the innovation is going to come from businesses and startups, right? So then how can we...
So there's a lot of nonprofits in Fairfield because Fairfield has a lot of variety of passions. And a lot of those that are listed are no longer active. When I did a lesson with my leadership class and we went to GuideStar, I was like, well, that one's not even here anymore. That one's not even here anymore. So a number of them are not still active. The ones that are active because there's people making them active. And while I think that, yes, we do have an abundance of nonprofits, we also have the most millionaires per capita. So there's plenty of money to go around. You just have to convince people why you are the one they should give your money to. I know why you should give it to Main Street, and I can give you 20 reasons right now.
Other questions? Going once? Twice? Very nice job. Fantastic. Fantastic. If Fairfield is not the place to be today, it sure as heck will be there in the coming few months. And you're doing great work, Mendy, as is the entire community. And it's really fun to watch your continued growth. We do have a little time. Hold on one second for one more question.
Just it occurs to me that the goals of basically generating the kind of buzz you're envisioning for Fairfield, it does require play, food, entertainment, and I'm wondering, it strikes me that there would be value in having, say, for example, the restaurant community has its own periodic meeting to synergize, or like I'm thinking of the Armory building is going to be an event center in terms of music venues, and why not get together with all the other music and dance venues that you could be the convener, but they do the creative work.
Absolutely. So the chamber used to have what we called the Restaurant and Retail Managers Working Group. And you didn't have to be a member. We met once a month. And it was a time for people who run businesses, who run restaurant and retail specifically, because it's a really hard business, to come in and commiserate. What are you doing what are your challenges? What's successful? We were able to, somebody had just started a new point of sale that they were super excited about. We were able to help other businesses get that contact information. The person joined the chamber. Now we use that. So it's been on pause. We've got some new business owners who are getting ready to hopefully get that started back up. We just give them the place, the donuts, and the coffee.
Yeah, right. You can.
Yep, and we tell them what's going on at the chamber and why they should join the chamber and how we can help them. But initially, the people downtown should not see their neighbor as their competitor. We're not competing against one another, because if we lose very many businesses downtown, what's the purpose of coming? They're your partners, and we should be doing more collaborative work. So if you watch our Facebook page, I love when two of my members are doing something together, and we will promote that. When we had the meeting last, Shannon from Sweet and Saucy was going to go over and do a demo at the at-home store using their products. That's a great collaboration. So there's all kinds of collaborations that we can be the catalyst for, and our doors are always open. If you've got a suggestion, I'm not scared to try anything a couple of times.
So we're losing Hazel and Gray on the square.
Yes. Iowa Dance Collective is also coming off the square.
Yes, but they have a beautiful building, and I'm
Yes.
very happy about where they're going.
I'm super excited too. Tyler's my favorite.
So that we're not losing the business, we're just
but it will
losing
be
the
another
location.
vacant storefront.
Yes, it will be. But who can help Hazel and Gray? Like, what can be done? I'm sure it's a done deal. But when there are businesses that are suffering, I go into businesses all the time and buy as much as I can because I want them to stay. But is there some other mechanism that the chamber has to help businesses that are struggling?
I will say, if you're struggling and you haven't joined the chamber, I can still help you. Hazel and Gray is not a chamber member. We have a lot of experts who help us. Alex, Kelly Prickett with SBDC. We have a really strong partnership with the Small Business Administration. We have really strong connections with Iowa Economic Development Authority, so we can make phone calls there. We can help, but we can't help if you don't tell me and if you don't join. I mean, we are a member organization. My members are my family. I don't shop at non-member businesses. If you're not a chamber member, I'm not coming in your business. I support those who support me. I have been that way. as someone in a nonprofit, I've always done that.
Do you see a mechanism for creating a platform for highlighting Fairfield's uniqueness and their products and getting them sent out into the larger region? You know, that's what Terry Baker does, brings people here. But how about some promoting our products and having interest from outside of our community purchase online and having, you know, materials sent out like a mercantile that's digital?
And that is what Terry Baker does, is promoting Fairfield. Yes, there is opportunity there. And I think part of that is in just promoting the business. What the Chamber does is we support your business, we connect you to our other members, we promote, celebrate, connect. Oh, we celebrate your success, and we support you when you need stuff. We have a lot of experts in Fairfield and in almost every field, but we also are a member of the Iowa Associations of Chamber of Commerce, so we have assets that we can pull from them. I'm going to a training next week. I'm super excited about, because I didn't get to go to conference, so this is my I need recharged. And we're going to bring back some information that I'm hoping that we can find a way to help our businesses in Fairfield.
I'm kind of cracking up here when you say you need to recharge. I find that hard to believe. I'd hate to see what you're like if you're fully charged, if you're not fully charged now. Again, thank you very much, Mendy.